So for the past 3 days, I have been very slowly working at this garden. Life's been busy and we're trying to get this going so we could get the electric fence up today. That's our goal. And here you can see the most important part right now. Obviously the garden's overgrowing with weeds right now. All along the border, I am just about to be done. I just have to finish this spot right here.
Fence is a pain in the butt. Okay. So today we decided we're going to be putting up our electric fence. So our inner fence, which is what we're putting up right now, is a 48-inch tall poultry netting fence from Premier One Supplies. We've had this for years. It works great. We will be adding another fence on the outside, but that's a little bit later. For now, I'm just going to show you how to put this one up. First post is the easiest. You just step on it. Ta-da! Now I know there's more efficient ways of putting this up than what I'm doing right now, but this is what I'm doing. So I just simply kind of put it where I want it, shove it along so it's snug, and just step. I may have to adjust the fence in or out depending on how close I am to these. These are metal. I don't want to short my fence. But for now, we're just going to put it here. You can always move out later. You're going to want to keep it tight because if you start getting slack in the line now, the problem gets worse and worse as you go. The more of this fence that touches the ground or touches grass, the less voltage it's going to have, and the less likely it is going to repel, I guess, predators of your food and flowers.
Daisy's not used to the fence.
Yeah. Well, I need one of those corner posts now. They're called tough posts, I believe. They're added support specifically for the corner. So anytime you need to wrap this fence around and there's no post to wrap it with, you're gonna need one of these. So depending on what shape your garden is, anytime you do a hard corner, you're gonna need one. Even if one of these posts was at the corner, they're super flimsy. If you try to use this as a corner, watch what happens. See, this doesn't bend as easily. You're gonna wanna keep the fins out so you can maintain it from the outside. Oh, I went ahead and did that. So I'm just gonna get one of these.
Sorry.
There we go.
I'm gonna start helping you.
Okay. Just continue around the outside.
There's actually a rock under this one, so I just have to kind of move it around. There's rocks all over our yard, no matter how many times we try to get them out. That's okay. We can work around it.
Oh, hold on a second. Can you pick that one up?
Oh, did I bend that?
No, it was like that. Here, take this. Okay. All better. All right, good. All right, so we have half of our fence put up. So our garden's large enough to where we need 2 fences. So we have to connect them together to continue the charge. That happens right here. So what I do, I put these two posts right up against each other. Okay. Try to get them in straight. This one's a little bent. Bend it back a little. All right. That looks good. All right, perfect. These two tabs, this is what continues the charge. Simply take it. Careful, it's sharp. Squeeze together. There you go. They're on. And then what I like to do, this string came with the original packaging and I just kept it because it works great for this exact reason. So I don't want these to be like this, so I simply just tie them together. Not a crazy knot. Just gotta work. Simple hand knot or slip knot will do. Shoelaces. I just do that all the way down. See, it still kind of flexes a little bit. I don't want anything pushing its face through here or whatever without getting shocked. If you want the food, you gotta pay.
We've gotten turtles that have fried on this.
Oh yeah.
Frogs.
This one, that's pretty tight. I don't need to do that one. And then we just continue now. I find it easier to get it all laid out first. In the past, I would just keep it in a ball and do it as I go. That's miserating. I like to lay it out and just pull it straight out. And you know, you accumulate some junk on it, but you just clean it off after the fact. Now, this is gonna happen. Gonna have bent steaks because we hit rocks.
Especially when you live on a mountain.
Let's try to straighten that out best you can.
It's coming along.
It's Alicia. She does almost all of the weeding and plant killing in the garden.
Getting there.
Crushing it.
All this was covered with weeds this morning.
Look at that.
Trying to get ready for our son's baseball game, so I wanted to get this in good shape for tomorrow so I could start planting.
Doesn't look like a lot, but all these plants are all torn up. Just come through here with a rake and collect them all and flatten them all out, and they'll be ready for planting.
Yeah, basically we learned it's a little quicker as a technique if we stir a hoe, bring all the dead stuff and let it kind of sit in here and let the sun bake it, and it's really nice and dry the next day, and I easily just throw it in a wheelbarrow and put it over in our compost over there. I don't know if you can see it. We have 3 beginning sets of it. It's working out.
All right, so we're done putting a fence around the entire garden. We have a little bit of overlap here, which is probably a good thing. It doesn't matter if they're touching each other, as long as they're not touching the ground or anything else metal. There's something important to know here, is in this, especially in this overlap section, none of these white strands can touch anything metal because these are the electrified strands. The ones at the bottom, these black ones aren't electrified, so it's okay if it's touching this, but you don't want any part of any of these white strands touching metal like that, because then it'll short. So just be careful around the fence. Another place that happens a lot is these corner posts here. Sometimes I won't have any voltage on my fence and I'll see a corner post with a piece of fence looped under, an electrified piece looped underneath here and touching the metal. And it's really hard to see. So I spent a solid 45 minutes one day just to find that this second loop was touching metal, and that was the entire reason my fence wasn't working. So just watch for that. You don't need to clip this to itself again. So this these were already clipped together all the way over there. And you need this for the Energizer pack we're going to be putting on here that puts the voltage into the system. So we'll be using this clip for that. This is, like I said, this is the second fence that we put up. This is a single strand and we have 2 of them. So the deer are going to see this first and create and I'll explain a little bit more about why we do this. We're actually making a 3D fence. So it'll make a lot more sense when this is up. But the idea is we're creating a 3-foot gap that the deer have to jump over. And they have horrible depth perception. So they walk up to the first strand and they try to figure out whether they have enough room to jump over both, and they can't do it because they can't analyze the depth properly, and they get frustrated and they walk away. They're not going to risk jumping into something and getting tangled up. So we take advantage of that, the fact that they can't see very well, to keep them out of the garden. We had a big problem with a deer coming in our garden a few years ago. We just had this up, and this worked for the longest time, but eventually a deer got in and started eating all of our stuff. And once they realize that they could just simply hop a fence to get what they want, they're not going to even touch it. So once they know that they don't have to get electrocuted by this thing to get food, they're all just going to start hopping over here and going nuts. So what we did is we included another strand and created a 3D fence. All right, so now I have the end of my fence here. This is a spring. This lets me really pull on it and create some tension without breaking anything. So we're just gonna put that on, and that's gonna help us extend this out. All right, let's go for a walk. The clips go on the inside of the post, not the outside. It's laying on the ground at a lot of places, and that's okay. We're not done yet. We have posts that go every so often in between to help hold the entire thing up. So I'm going to run the second wire, and then we're going to go ahead and install all of those at the same time. So both strands are up, so now it's time to reinforce them with these posts. Again, these are Premier One supplies. The height you put these at, I don't recall. I had to call them to get their recommendation. I think once it's driven into the ground, I think one's at 18 inches and the other one's at 30 inches, I believe, but I could be wrong. So now I'm going to try to put it in the middle. 4, 5, 6. So the middle's right about here. So I'm just going to go ahead and gently hammer these in. Got a special cap for this. So actually get clean loose. These just tighten up. Just like that. Okay. I believe that's the height we want. Simply just go on like so. Okay. Just try to line them up. Looks about right. Maybe this one's a little high. It's kind of a little more.